The Nightmare Before Christmas was born out of song. Before any part of the script had been written, before there was any sense of a finalised story, Danny Elfman started to put together the songs for this macabre musical. Tim Burton had produced an outline of the plot and gave some suggestions for lyrics, but the music and text for the 10 songs of Nightmare Before Christmas was left almost entirely to Elfman. He wrote the musical numbers in chronological order, inspired by the thoughts, ideas and narrative beats given to him by Burton, and it was from these songs that the film was constructed. Built around the musical world that Danny Elfman had devised. In this way, The Nightmare Before Christmas is unlike any other movie musical. It's conceived more like an operetta or a stage show, where the music is the guiding force for everything else in the production. And so, Danny Elfman was in a privileged position. He not only had the ability to mould the story around the music, but also the other way around. By carefully controlling every melodic, harmonic and rhythmical component of the songs and score, he created a universal design for the music. And in doing so, crafted a language in which the secrets of this story are hidden. So let's try to uncover these secrets. After the overture introduces the key melodic ideas of the score, we are welcomed into the world of the film by a cast of characters singing This Is Halloween. It begins with heavy marcato strings and woodwind playing in C minor, marking out a clear duple meter with stresses on the first and third beats of the bar. Harmonically, Elfman uses an overwhelmingly minor musical language. It moves between multiple minor chords and does so using very carefully controlled voice leading. In most cases, Elfman uses a common tone, a note shared by both chords, to pivot between them, and the two outer voices of the chord usually move in opposite directions by a half step. So, for example, the change from G sharp minor to E minor on It's Our Town uses a B natural as a shared note, the common tone, and the D sharp of G sharp minor moves upwards to an E, and the G sharp moves down to a G natural. This idea of one shared and two changing notes reinforces the duple feeling of the music. The heavy 2 in a bar feel of the meter is matched by the chromatic movement of pairs of notes. This is the language of Halloween Town, a marked, carefully controlled and dark music. But this is also Jack's music. As we're introduced to Jack Skellington, we hear strains of his lament appearing in the score, mixed with the first renditions of Sally's theme. Jack's music hasn't yet been assigned meaning, but straight away it feels more melancholic and wistful than the music we've just heard, relying on longer, drawn-out melodic lines, a shift in tone to set the scene for Jack's soliloquy.
There are few who deny it. What I do, I am the best. For my talents are renowned far and wide.
The opening music of his lament is rooted in the world around him. It's in 4/4, acting as a natural extension of the duple meter of the opening chorus.
With the slightest little effort.
And with its minor, unsettled harmony driven by a chromatic bass line, it feels like Elfman has just taken the language of This Is Halloween and slowed it down and softened the edges.
I have swept the very bravest off their feet.
But after Jack's opening recitative, we get a sudden change. The music moves into triple time.
Oh, somewhere deep inside.
This is the first point in the film where a 3/4 pulse has been sustained, moving away from the duple meter that has dominated the score so far.
There's something out there far.
Jack is yearning for something. He doesn't know what it is or what he's missing in his life.
I've never known.
But his music, which is now in a defined key and a new triple time meter, is telling us that he needs to look beyond the stubborn and cold sounds of his home in order to find the music that will complete him. But Jack will not have to wait for long to begin to find the answers to his questions. As he stumbles across the doors to the holiday worlds, fragments of his lament are heard in the score, but this is abruptly interrupted by a new theme. As Jack falls into Christmas Town, the music crystallizes, giving us a new harmonic, rhythmic, and melodic style. The first bars of this new language set the music apart from what we've heard before. Where the music up until this point has been in minor keys and used mostly minor chords, this song is now in a major key. As the song begins, the B-flat major chord of the opening shifts without thought or process into A major, down a half step, then back up again into B-flat. Where the voice leading in This Is Halloween followed tightly controlled paths, relying upon shared notes between chords, in this song we get sudden parallel shifts in harmony, moving chromatically up and down. But the harmony's not the only thing that's changed here.
What's this? What's this? There's color everywhere.
As Jack begins to sing, the music roots itself firmly in 3/4, in triple time.
Wake up, Jack, this isn't fair. What's this? What's this? What's this?
The 3/4 of Jack's lament was foreshadowing this music and this meter.
Streets are lined with little creatures laughing. Everybody seems so happy. Have I possibly gone daffy? What is this? What's this?
But his thoughts of home aren't far away.
There's children throwing snowballs instead of throwing heads. The busy building.
As he starts to recall the world that is left behind, the song shifts into duple time.
And in my bones I feel the warmth that's coming from inside. Oh look, what's this?
Halloween Town's music is placed side by side with the new music of this fantasy world.
Around hearing story roasting chestnuts on a fire. What's this?
And as he returns to the 3/2 music of Christmas Town, Elfman modulates the song up a half step into D-flat major. The harmony is rising and brightening as Jack's excitement grows, and as he begins to feel alive again.
On my own, I've got to know what is this place that I have found? What is this?
But the question is, how does he hold on to this feeling? After returning to the real world, he desperately tries to convince the people of Halloween Town
Listen, everyone.
of the wonders and magic of the place he has been.
There were objects so peculiar they were not to be believed.
Jack's town hall proclamation begins with the descending chromatic bass line that accompanied his lament.
Thing I've ever seen, and as hard as I tried.
But very quickly, the music heads off in a different direction.
But you must.
As Jack tries to explain each of the elements of Christmas, the song moves into a 6/8 compound time with 2 dotted quarter note beats.
This is a thing called a present. The whole thing starts with a bar.
Literally a pair of 3 notes. The 2 worlds are metrically colliding.
If you please.
But the people of Halloween Town don't understand. They interrupt with their characteristic harmony and voice leading.
How ugly! What's in it? What's in
That's
it?
the point of the thing, not to.
And it seems the only way of Jack getting the discussion back on track is for him to speak their musical language.
Listen now, you don't understand. That's not the point of Christmas land.
Doing so by switching into duple time for a brief moment.
Oversized sock. And hey,
But despite his frustrations, Jack himself doesn't fully understand what he's experienced.
that special kind of feeling in Christmas land. Oh, well.
And so, he tries to figure it out. Jack locks himself in his tower, and we hear a song that begins with a ticking clock, marking out a duple rhythm against a 3/4 pulse.
Something's up with Jack, something's up with Jack.
The opening lines might be sung by the people of Halloween Town,
Know if we're ever going to get him back.
but this is Jack's music we're hearing. He is stuck in between 2 worlds, a metaphysical space where he can't work out the point of one world, nor how to realize the magic of the other.
Something's up with Jack.
And we hear this hidden in the music. After a brief moment in 4/4, the song moves into 7/4.
Christmas time is buzzing in my skull. Will it let me me be, I cannot tell.
4 plus 3, the duple meter of Halloween Town, added to the triple time of Christmas Town.
Through my bony fingers it does slip.
This not only speaks of Jack's tormented soul, but also foreshadows his plan to merge the two worlds, creating a hybrid monster doomed to fail.
Since past, here in an instant, gone in a flash. What does it mean? What does it mean?
And even as he starts to enact his plan, everything in the music is telling us that it won't succeed. As the people of Halloween Town prepare for Christmas, their gothic melody uses the first few notes of the Dies Irae Gregorian chant.
This time,
Making Christmas.
A chant that sings of the day of judgment and of the end of the world.
making Christmas, making.
And on top of this, as they intone their haunting line, "It's ours this time," the music awkwardly shifts into triple time,
It's ours this time.
a sneering jab at the music of Christmas Town that has been so callously disfigured. And ultimately, Jack's plan will fail.
What have I done? What have I done?
He doesn't listen to Sally and to the warning she gives him, and as she predicts, it all ends in disaster, ruin, and fire.
Where was I?
But Jack is not yet finished.
Whoa! What the heck? I went and did my best, and by God, I really tasted something swell.
As he decides to set things right, the major music that has been missing from the score for so long, the music of Christmas Town, returns, now fused with the music of Halloween Town. The darkness of this place has been lifted, changed by the events that have transpired this Christmas time.
What's this?
What's this?
I haven't got a clue. What's this? Why, it's completely new.
The chromatic voice leading turned into parallel major triads, the duple time turned into triple time. But these aren't the only things that have changed. Jack has, in his heart, realized what he needs to feel whole.
My dearest friend, if you don't mind.
And as he takes Sally by the hand, surrounded by glistening snow, the music finally resolves into bright C-sharp major.
We're simply meant to be.
But for one last magical twist, the music moves up a half step into D major. Then back again. The promise of Christmas, of a world of dreams and fantasy, has come true. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to find out more about the music of Nightmare Before Christmas, I thoroughly recommend you read Andrew Powell's thesis on the music of Danny Elfman, which I used as the basis for this essay. I've linked it in the description below. It's a fascinating analysis and it's well worth looking through. I'm so grateful that this video has been sponsored by CuriosityStream. CuriosityStream is the place to find thousands of the best documentaries online, including things like this ridiculously in-depth look at the history and sound of the Stradivarius violin. And if you're interested in signing up, click on the link in the description or go to curiositystream.com/listeningin. And until the 24th of December, you can get an astonishing 42% off a regular subscription to CuriosityStream. That's only $12 a year. And with this, you'll also get access to my streaming service, Nebula, completely free. Nebula is a platform run by creators like me, and there you can not only find ad-free versions of all of my videos, but also extended editions of my essays, as well as standalone bonus videos. In January, I'll also be releasing my first Nebula original video as part of Working Titles Season 2, where I'll be looking in depth at the introduction to one of my favourite games, The Last of Us Part 2. There are so many amazing creators on Nebula, and so by signing up using the link below, you're not only supporting my channel, but also so many other YouTubers. See you next time.